Good afternoon, Sun Devils. Trent Nettles here, Senior Health Educator, joined by the great, the one and only
Nick Heyer, Coordinator Senior Sports Programs.
So today we're here for a Q&A session on sports programs and intramurals. Flip that, intramurals and sports programs. We're going to answer your questions. Some of you submitted questions earlier this week. You can also ask questions on the live feed. Feel free to type them right into the chat. We have our moderator here who will be posting those questions for us. So without further ado, we'll get started. So Nick, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe what do you do at ASU?
Sure. First and foremost, I am honored to be here with the esteemed Trent Nettles. Feels really nice. It's a huge compliment. But my position here is the Coordinator Senior for Sports Programs. Essentially what that means is my office oversees sport club programs. We have about 49 sport clubs on this campus, 45 to 50. It's a moving target. As well as the intramural programs. I'll dive a little bit more into what those are here later, kind of what those mean. There's also a third component as well. We call it play. Play basically being more drop-in recreational in nature programs, kind of things that students can engage with as they walk around campus, or sometimes it's a more formal event, but it's still drop-in in nature, so a little bit more casual and less structured and formal. So that's what I do here. I've been here about 4 years now. 4 years in August, so starting my 5th year around, so exciting times, yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for that, Nick. So let's start with some of the traditional programs. I know a lot of colleges and universities have traditional intramural programs. What are some of the ones that we also host here?
Yeah, we like to call them our meat and potatoes programs. So basically, these are the leagues that, again, like you said, they fit tradition, but they usually have our most participants or most amount of teams. You're usually looking at a flag football league, which is actually one of our first leagues that we roll with here in the fall. So everybody's going to need to be on their P's and Q's and ready to sign up for that. Indoor volleyball is a big one. We also do a sand volleyball league. Volleyball usually gets a good draw. We do soccer in several different formats. So we do a couple of indoor leagues as well as an outdoor league. Basketball, of course, is a giant one. So we do a preseason league in the fall. Kind of later in the fall semester, we also do a bigger league in the spring. We do a 3-on-3 version of that as well. So those are the bigger ones. Let's see what I missed. Softball in the spring would be another bigger one. So those are, again, when you say traditional, I'll give you just a little bit of a reference. We had 270 basketball teams last year. Wow. Teams, not participants. So
yeah, awesome.
It's a big deal. It's a big operation. A lot of students are jumping on board and having a great time with it. So we hope to get more of those this year as well.
So a little math question for you.
Yeah.
How many students did we engage with? If you have the number off the top of your head.
Yeah, we had about 6,700, so just under 7,000 unique participants. Wow. When I say unique, I mean students that participated in at least one of our programs one time. On one hand, that's an awesome number because it's bigger than almost anything else going on campus. There's a ton of people participating. On the other hand, there's thousands and thousands of students that aren't participating. Yeah. So we want to tap into that audience and try to fill in some of those gaps.
And I know one of the things that you all were exploring last year, I think it was twofold. One, asking students what are some intramurals that they might want to be a part of that we don't traditionally offer, and two, some intramural programs that might meet specific needs of our different populations. Can you talk about some of those initiatives that you guys kicked off?
Absolutely. So last year, one comes straight to my head. We started cricket for the first time.
Yeah.
That one was high in demand. We knew that there was a certain group of students that play, oftentimes not even on campus. So we provided a home for them.
Yeah.
We started our first league. Actually, it was our second league in the spring, and it was pretty successful. We had about 8 teams.
Awesome.
And we're going to do a tournament this fall, and then a league again in the spring. So that's one example, but we're always trying to make it known to students that we want to meet you where you are at with programming. So we're always open to new ideas, and of course we have a budget to buy certain materials and equipment, and again, we're open to suggestions on how we can create new things. We got a couple new things on the calendar, a little bit newer this year, but for the most part we've stuck with what we had last year because it worked well for us. So.
Again, number one in innovation, we're always trying to improve, always trying to better serve you all, and I think that's evident in our efforts and as we continue to try to build and do new things. Okay, so we talked about some of the traditional programs. Let's shift a little bit over to our play and this new model of play and engagement. how did that either get initiated or started, or
Yeah.
where is that going?
So I would say the concept of play is actually more established on the non-Tempe campuses.
Sure.
So West, Poly, and Downtown have very, very successful play programs. And it kind of originated from kind of, again, trying to meet the students where they're at in the sense that we found that those type of programs work better at those campuses.
Sure.
West, for example, we have a lot of commuter students, so we have students that don't necessarily want to stick around for their 8 p.m. flag football game.
Sure.
But what they will engage with is slip and slide kickball in the afternoon on the quad.
Sure.
So you're looking at events like that, more kind of geared towards things that you can just pop in with or drop by and kind of engage with in the moment. And again, they're really easy for us because it doesn't take a lot of planning or supplies or different things.
Sure.
The students tell us, hey, we're interested in this stuff. Poly, they play like Gaga ball or just all kinds of different stuff. You guys have probably seen the big bubble soccer game, the knocker ball. So I think everybody's seen those at this point. But yeah, we try to do those type of things, and we're trying to let students know that yes, we have structure, we have sport clubs and intramurals that constitute that structure, but we also have these other things where we're just trying to let people have fun on campus and meet with other people and have a good time, even if it's just for a few minutes.
Show up, play some games for an
Exactly.
hour, go back to what you're doing, take a break, quick study and break.
Well, I'm glad you said that because that's not to switch gears on you again,
No, go for
but that's kind of the beauty of intramurals. So students, I think, typically have this perception of, especially when you're new to campus, freshmen that don't know what intramurals are. What am I getting into, right? That sounds like a big commitment, I don't have time for that.
Sure.
When the reality is that's not true at all. Intramurals are not only for everyone, in the sense that we have skill levels for everyone. So if you want to play flag football this fall, we have open and recreation leagues for people that have never played before. You go out there, you learn the game together, you meet new people, and you have a great time doing it. On the contrast, we have everything in between, all the way up to a men's A flag football or a highly competitive women's flag football league, where people have been playing their whole lives and they're going after it. They're going hard for that T-shirt. So again, we have all those options, but we also like to tell the students, again, if you want to sign up for one team, that's 1 hour a week of your time. We're talking about the same time every week, 7 o'clock on Tuesdays. I can commit myself to playing soccer and I'm gonna have fun doing it with my friends.
Yeah.
And that's it,
Yep.
right? So trying to fight that perception that it's more than that.
And I love the fact that it's structured, like it's not a large commitment. It's, every Saturday at 12, we're gonna have a game and that's it. And then you can go back to studying, working, whatever that looks like.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
And then this last idea I want us to explore before we go a different direction is club sports.
Yep.
And how many club sports are there again? What are some of the most popular ones? And who do they compete against?
Yep, so again, thinking of our programming in 3 levels. The play level, almost no commitment, drop it in nature. Intramural level, you play against other students from ASU. There certainly is a little bit of a commitment, but we're not talking about practices, coaches,
Sure.
not unless you want to, some teams do.
Mhm.
Again, in kind of in that middle tier of commitment. Sport clubs, we consider that the commit side of the spectrum. And again, we have around 45 to 50 clubs. I'll give you some examples ranging anywhere from, I think we have 5, 6, 7 different dance clubs.
Sure.
We have men's and women's soccer. We have basketball, baseball, tons of water-based sports. So we have like water ski and all these different things. We have taekwondo. Those type of
Quidditch
things.
right here,
Quidditch. Shout out to my Quidditch people. 2-time intramural team of the year.
Wow.
Quidditch likes to do both. They're a very positive example for us. But yeah, you can play Quidditch here. So we have some outside the box sports too. There's
That's
ultimate,
awesome.
things like that. Again, they all are sports based, and they vary as well, kind of on the commitment level. So
Sure.
some of them are like to just hang out with each other and they practice. They're in a studio, and maybe they go compete once a year somewhere else, or they compete locally or whatever it is. We do like to distinguish these clubs as different because they have an element of competition against other schools.
Sure.
So that's really what differentiates We have other clubs. I think of our rugby clubs and our lacrosse clubs would be two really good examples that they play all year, practice 3 to 5, if not more times a week.
Sure.
Travel across the country, California, wherever it is, and have aspirations to compete for a national championship. So those athletes are recruited here often. That's not to say your general ASU student can't try to go for that team, but again, kind of the spectrum there is a little bit wider in terms of the commitment level in that regard. Just to keep going there, if you are interested in joining a sport club, the easiest way for you to figure out that process, because there are so many of them, there's not one necessarily concrete process, is to go to our website, fitness.asu.edu, and to click on sport clubs. If you go to that page, you can see our list of all of our sport clubs, and you can also find our officer contact information, and you're best served reaching out to that club's president and finding out information. So some of them have tryouts. I know men's soccer has tryouts right off the bat to start the semester. Others, it's the more the merrier type thing. It's, hey, come check out. Hey, you like dancing? Cool. Come to our next practice, and we'll hang out, and you're part of the club. So it kind of varies in that regard.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. A wealth of knowledge there. A lot of
Sure.
good information. How do students get started? How do they sign up for intramurals? Or to come play, or we talked a little bit about sports clubs.
Yeah.
But in terms of the play activities or intramurals themselves, how do we sign up?
Yep. So both sport clubs, real quick, since I was on that one.
Yep.
Again, it kind of varies. Some of them have dues, some of them don't. We do. The president hopefully will explain that to you once you get signed up a little more. But we do basically get people signed up on our website. It's called Do Sports Easy, but it'll be explained to you if you want to do that, and you just kind of get on the roster from there. Most of our sport clubs do pay a $25 due per semester, or at least a lot of them do, and that's it.
Okay.
That's just kind of covers some overhead costs for the university here. Intramurals, talk about that process a little bit. So the first thing we always ask when we find new students that are interested in playing intramurals, are you a member of WP Carey, School of Business, Fulton School of Engineering, or do you live in a res college, university housing? If your answer is yes to any of those 3 questions, you will have an intramural membership for free, ready to rock and roll on,
Awesome.
let's call it, very close to moving day.
Sure.
So it'll be yours, and you're already ready to pretty much get the ball rolling.
Sign up for whatever.
Yeah, from there, if you do fit in one of those 3 groups, basically all you have to do is you have to go to our website. It's imleagues.com. That's the letter I, the letter M, leagues.com/ASU. If you go to that, everything's self-explanatory for there. Again, you have your membership. You just have to create an account real quick. I think it pops an email to your ASU email address, and then you call it. You're good to go. If you don't fit in one of those 3 groups, fear not. Intramurals is about the most inexpensive thing you can do here. It's $25 for the whole year, or $15 for just one semester. You can play on virtually as many teams as you want. We have students that play on 50, 100 teams in a year. It's ridiculous. And we do support it. Within reason, right?
Absolutely.
Go to school, kids. But again, it's very, very inexpensive, and you can purchase that membership at any of the SDFCs, or you can purchase it online. It's fitnessonline.asu.edu. You can go in there and purchase that membership, and then follow those same steps. Head to IM Leagues, and you're good to go. IM Leagues is a very, very user-friendly site. Basically, once you're there, you can either start a team on your own, and you can be that team captain, or you can join a team that your friends have already created and it already exists. Very, very easy to do. Like I said, it's self-explanatory once you get there. Cool?
Yeah.
And like I said, the play events too are pretty much
Just
mostly
pop up,
dropping in
yeah.
nature. So yeah, you just catch wind that they're happening or see them around and just head on over to it.
You see them, they'll be set up, I know they'll be set up with different games, cornhole, giant Jenga,
Yep.
ladder golf, and some other people call that a different game.
Yeah.
It pops up, they'll just be popped up around campus, and so just have the opportunity to engage with the staff, and they'll engage you and have a chat.
Exactly.
Let's see. One of the other questions I had is when does the students arrive on campus, move-in day, at what point does the first intramural flag football, for example, kick off and start?
For sure, I'm glad you asked. So I mentioned that flag football people, we need to be a very captive audience.
Sure.
We need to be ready to rock and roll. So we've actually even moved that league up 1 week this year.
Oh.
And yeah, we're starting soon. So the registration, I printed this off so I wouldn't forget. The registration for our first 6 sports across all 4 campuses is going to open on August 10th. That's on IM Leagues. The sports that are going to be opening then are going to be flag football, indoor volleyball, which the flag football league is on all 4 campuses.
Sure.
Indoor volleyball is a Tempe only league. We're doing 5-on-5 indoor soccer, which is Tempe only also. We're doing a 3-on-3 basketball league, which is all campuses besides Pauley. Downtown, check it out, they're doing a floor hockey league.
Oh.
Should be pretty good. And then lastly, we do a sport called Battleship here at Tempe too. I don't know if you've heard of that one. It's exactly what it sounds like, except it's a real life version of picture the Titanic going down, only in the shallow end of a pool. So you're in a boat and you're literally scooping buckets of water into other people's canoes, trying to sink their boat, and if you're the last boat sinking, you win. So that's kind of one of those outside the box.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and we get 20 to 30 teams for it, so it's a lot of interest.
Is that
It's
1v1?
nighttime. It's like 4 people in a boat, and then you
Wow.
have a navigator that pulls your boat around.
I gotta see that in action.
Yeah.
That
So
sounds
those are
awesome.
the 6 we'll roll with at the beginning. Like I mentioned, flag football opens the 10th. It's going to close on the 23rd. Everything else closes at least around a week, if not more, after that. Flag football, like I said, from those of you that get on campus, you know, for the first day of school, you got about a week to sign up.
Sure.
So it's going to be quick. And if you miss it, you miss it, which is unfortunate because then you're out of luck until it ends in the beginning of October. So.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. I got some more specific questions that came in for us.
Got it.
Like the first one is there a club swim team?
Funny you ask that. I have a meeting today, this afternoon, with Sophia, who is trying to start a swimming sport club.
Nice.
So the technical answer to your question is no, we don't yet.
Not yet.
But it sounds like it could be in the works. I'll give that a segue to a shout out to anyone. If you don't see the club that you like or you're interested in, or you maybe did in high school or whatever it might be, on our list of all these clubs, for one, it's going to be hard because we have a lot of them. But if that is the case, we are always open to starting new sport clubs. And in fact, we just started one, or we're starting one here that we just approved this week. It's going to be a stunt club, which is a version of cheer.
Wow.
Swimming, hopefully we'll get there, but there are some other examples of clubs that either are only student organizations and are not with us right now, or they just don't exist on campus.
Sure.
And we're happy to try to start those up, and we'll work with you on how to do that.
So you kind of answered half of my next question.
Yeah.
So the first half of the question is there a lacrosse or intramural club sport?
Yeah, so we get asked that one a lot.
I'm sure.
You know, lacrosse is getting big on the West Coast now. So the short answer is we do not have intramural lacrosse, nor will we. Think about it, it's a little bit less physical than tackle football, but it's not. Most of our sports are modified to be safer versions. Flag football instead of tackle will be an example.
Sure.
So for that reason, we haven't done intramural lacrosse, and we probably won't. But we do have a men's and a women's club lacrosse team.
Okay.
Again, they're very, very established and good teams with a lot of talent. So those are 2 of our more probably difficult clubs, I would say, to potentially make. But of course, it's open to anyone to try.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's all the formal questions I have that folks asked in. Have we had any questions come in? No, that's awesome. Word of advice for new students coming in? Well, you know, they ask questions before.
Nick Mendoza, come on, man. I thought you were going to ask a question.
Do you have any advice for new students coming in regarding either getting involved or intramurals and how they can, you know, best solidify their experience here at ASU?
He's laughing at me over there. Yeah, I do. I mean, I would just say that you're going to hear it a million times when you step foot on campus. Get involved.
Sure.
Make friends. Be engaged in things. All this stuff, right? And there's just so many ways that you can do it, right? There's a wealth of opportunities on campus, and I will of course plug mine over the others. Not to say the others aren't great, but intramurals and sport clubs, for that matter. You're talking about. I have students that come talk to me all the time, like students that have graduated, things like that. Hey man, thank you for my experience at ASU because of that. Because they've formed lifelong relationships and friendships, and it's those experiences that stuck with them. It wasn't that B they got in freshman calculus class. It was the connections they made, the experience they had with their friends and their brothers and their sisters and all that stuff, and really connected on a deeper level. And that's the memorable stuff. So again, I would encourage you to not be afraid to try something new, to not say I've never played a sport before, that's not for me. I would think about it differently of I've never played a sport before, but there's lots of other people that haven't. I want to play to have a new experience and to really, again, to try something new that I've never done before.
That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Sure.
I think that's our time. I want to thank you today for joining us.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, everyone. Shout out sports program.
We'll see you when you get here. Sign up, flag football, first thing, volleyball. Let's kick off and have a great semester. I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.